All right, very cool. Then let's go into the prompt engineering and let's combine the exercise and the basics by just exercising along and trying out along what we're planning to do. So we're looking at the prompting a little bit from the perspective, or a little bit we're looking from the perspective of Midjourney. Why are we doing this? First of all, because there are some commands that only Midjourney, you as Midjourney user can use. But second of all, that again, it's I think the most powerful tool. So it does make sense to use those commands. All right. First, setting the stage. I think we already covered that. So we want to draw some basic images, mostly images that resemble photographs or something like that, like the one here on the left-hand side, on your left-hand side, to use in whatever materials. And we want to learn how we can get from a first prompt that probably has some things that we do not necessarily want or need to a prompt that eventually you want to have. And of course, I want to show you some techniques because in particular it can be a little bit frustrating with those tools. It can be frustrating with other tools if we stay with music to get something that we want, because again we try in this case with words to describe what kind of music we want, and in words and this we want to with words describe what kind of images we want, and of course this is a little bit hard to get. So you hopefully have a tool of your choosing open. It could be if you're a beginner. The Microsoft Designer, which is available at Bing/Create. You could have DALL-E open and GPT Plus plan if you open that, or via the API side, or you want to use Midjourney or Stability AI. So if those tools are not applicable to you, or you think you are already a pro in DALL-E, then give Stability AI a chance. It's definitely worth it if you have the energy of sitting through the work it has. Okay, prompting in details. There are 4 things that we need to do when prompting for images. One very easy way is to learn from examples. You will see that, I will also show you in a prompt database, that for vastly different prompts you get vastly different results. So understanding a little bit on how prompts can look and what prompts that you don't expect it to get images that you want to resemble is probably one of the easiest way to get what you want. Then we get to text-to-image prompting. So it's probably the most common thing that we give it a text and want to have an image. We can do the same with image-to-image, again, which I maybe want to do when we create some visuals for the Venture Labs or something that you're working with, and you want to put some more people in your office, or you want to make your office full of products that are being used, then you can do that. And then we iterate and practice until we have what we want to have. So, learn from practice. There are fortunately a lot of image galleries out there, like the Midjourney exploring page, like the prompt library, Civit AI images, and Prompt Hero Midjourney prompts. I will show you how this looks like and why this is so cool for you as a tool to use. Here we have the prompt library at promptlibrary.org, and you can just browse through that. If you have the idea of you want something specific to have, you can just click at an image and look at the prompt that was used to generate this image. Let's look at this burger, for example. Let's click on it. It's loading, and it shows us the full prompt. For this particular, if we want to have this burger, it says bacon and kimchi burger with only included 2 stacked patties, Krispy Kreme, blah, 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 constructed framing, so maybe this is something you want to use. Studio lighting, so maybe this gives us a hint what we want to have here. Field of depth, front view, and then some things that we will learn in a second. So this can already give us a hint that if we want to recreate something in the same style because we like that style, what we might want to use. Same thing goes, of course, for if you want to have something. I particularly find it interesting pictures like this that are a little bit simplistic and it's a little bit simplistic and of a specific art style, that the prompts have not so much to do sometimes with what we have. Peking opera, elegant woman, beautiful eyes, and so on. For example, the Peking opera, I don't really see anything that goes back to the Peking opera, but apparently this is one of the key informations the algorithm needs to come up with that. So if we want to recreate something in the same style, then maybe we want to have words like eternal Zen, Beijing opera, high definition and stuff like this in our prompt as well. And this is usually a good starting point if you say, okay, I want something specific. Here I want to create the Mona Lisa in a subway. What do I need to prompt to have the same thing? Or that I want to create a list of cartoons that are a little bit similar, then I can learn from those prompts that already showed those outputs to get me to similar outputs. So prompt library, it's probably one of the most important things that you want to have. It's true for images. I always go back to the audio example. When you want to create something that sounds when you want to recreate a sound, then just go through the prompts and just look through what other people have done and look at their prompt and say, okay, what has been the prompt? It's somewhere down there, somewhere you can find the prompt. I think I have to log in for that to get a better understanding what are the words the AI needs to create the prompt. Okay. So learn from problem examples. We have done this. You can also do this in DALL-E by letting DALL-E by letting ChatGPT create a prompt for you. There's a question. There are models that create 3D models for you. The thing you get here is always 2D visualizations, and the technology we discussed in depth is always a 2D noise that creates a 2D picture. So even if it shows some depth, the AI does not know that it's creating a 3D render or something like that. There are tools that can create CAD data for you, for example, so real 3D data that you can move around in space. That's a completely different technology and a completely different technique. If you want to create images, it's always, or to my knowledge, the ones that we are using are all 2D technologies that try to create a 2D string of that. Different technologies. So. Also AI-based, yeah. So look for AI CAD, for example. That might give you some things. It's definitely all neural network based. Yesterday we discussed it a little bit that the results are still not super good, and one reason for this is obviously that the open source CAD models that you have out there are very limited and not very well classified. Thank you for the question. We can use GPT, as I said, to look up prompts, to generate prompts for DALL-E. Of course, if we go to a prompt library such as these, those only work for the model that is underlying. So if you put the same prompt and try to recreate it with DALL-E, let's, for example, take this. This, of course, is a prompt that has been used on Midjourney. Then when we use it on DALL-E, it's probably creating something completely different. So we need to be aware that we need to look up prompts for the system that we are working in. So let's give it a second because I think it's almost done. Or not, then let's check back in a second. What also Midjourney can do for you, you can give it a picture and with the command describe. So how Midjourney works is you have to use commands like a classical computer program, and those go with / and then your command. Imagine is the classical command to create with a prompt an image. / describe would be the command to say, look at an image and describe it for me. So let's try to classify it for me. Which is also a nice thing for examples, if you have a real image that you say, okay, I want it to be in the style, use / describe, use the image and let Midjourney describe it in its own words, how it would describe it, and use those own words again to use as an input for the prompt. Let's take a look back what DALL-E did in Midjourney. I think this is actually not too bad for DALL-E capabilities, but we can see that the style is again rather different than what we had in the example. Okay, so text-to-image prompting. This is what we do. Again, it makes more sense to start with a kind of sample, but we probably want to start at some point to create an image of ourselves. And one nice thing is we can start with create an image in the style of. So just give us some understanding. Create an image of a car driving through a narrow road, something like create an image of a car driving up the mountain. Just let it run and see if it is what we want. And from there, we can iteratively say, okay, this is actually not very much what I wanted. Here, Jan, for example, said, create an image driving through up a mountain, and the car should be red in the sports car. This is a command that you can only do in DALL-E because here you don't use the commands, but you're interacting with an LLM again. So everything you put as an input gets in the input, gets in the context window, and basically the command for the image generation created for the LLM, from the LLM for you, includes the create an image of a car driving up the mountain. The car should be a red sports car, and will do that for you. In Midjourney, you do that with a / imagine, and it's actually quite fun, and you get very addictive to this command. It's here, the guys who have Midjourney, hopefully you got to Discord, wonderful. So you / it shows you all the commands. That is one of the nice things about Discord. / is always the start of a command when you talk to a bot. The Midjourney image generation bot is just a Discord bot in this, and you can say, imagine a red sports car driving up a mountain, and it just will do that for you. It will use this command and conduct it for you. So very nice thing, and it is also not an LLM, so it will not take into account what you do with him, what you chat with him. You cannot even chat with this bot. It will just take the commands that you use it for. Of course, you can discuss with ChatGPT what you want to ask the Midjourney bot, but it will not talk. They will not cross-talk. Let's put it like that. So what do we have here? Sports car, of course, is always red. And here also one of the problem, we're looking for a sports car. The upper right is definitely a Ferrari. So there is a huge oversampling of Ferraris in sports cars apparently. And it's most of the time one of the same Ferraris. So I'm not a Ferrari fanboy, but I think this looks a little bit like LaFerrari and like an Enzo. So it's always a little bit similar on that. That is nothing that I want to worry about now. Wonderful. So this is what it does. Being explicit is still something that you want to do. Garbage in, garbage out. It works from the sample data. So here apparently the prompt was salmon in the river. And of course, the entire data of salmon was salmon fillet sliced in a way, so it created exactly what you were asking for. But I think from context, we know as humans that we are not asking for salmon fillet in a river, but for live fish in a river. This has been covered and it has been done in the data pipelining and a lot of more trading data getting in there. But still, we need to know we're just talking to a machine, and this machine has no reasoning, this machine has no thought. So please help the machine to either make super funny pictures that you can use and make fun of the machine, or make fun of your prompting skills, or use what is helpful. As we write here nowadays, AI can be way better with shorter instructions. Reason for that is, first, the image generation got better. Second of all, the weights and biases got improved. So salmon, they probably learned that salmon, when you say salmon, you're most likely interested in the fish and not in the fillet. Maybe also they improved the neural network that depending on salmon and river, then it wants the fish, salmon and fries, then probably takes the fillet. And that the data pipelining, of course, got improved quite a lot recently. So we can get along with, can get away with shorter prompts as well. All right, so text to image, what should we enter? Again, just be creative, be iterative. You put the prompt after the imagine prompt. You will not be able to re-edit those, but you will make new prompts, or you should make new prompts. It's all fine. And use the same things, or think about what we were discussing yesterday, and make the same or the appropriate adjustments. Yesterday we were talking that you need to tell the AI what it's supposed to be, who it's supposed to be. For example, be an artist, be a photographer or something. Here you would not say you are an artist, you're a photographer, but you still would define the style. What is the preferred style? Is it a manga? Is it a photography? Is it photorealistic? Is it 16-bit style? What would you describe the style? And be very explicit in that. It's not only 16-bit, but it might be a colorful 16-bit video graphics or something like that. So be open, be creative, what you want to create, and create it yourself. Of course, you have to describe what you are seeing. So you probably still know that from your art class, which I was not the biggest fan. Now it comes in handy. So we used to ask our teachers, when do I need this in real life? Now you need this in real life, describing pictures. What is the subject? Who is doing what there? What is the setting, so what is the action in there, what is the composition, where does the subject stand in relation to the background, to the object, what is the lighting conditions as well, what kind of mood do you want. So a race car going up the mountain, is it noon, is it winter, is it summer, where should this car be, should it be left or right, should it be from the front, from the back. You know how to describe a scene, and you will get better describing a scene, and any additional info that you might want to have. There's also a sweet spot. You can give it too much additional information of complexity, and then it messes up the entire thing. But you will learn about this as you go iteratively through your processes. So here we have it all. Style plus subject plus setting plus composition plus lighting plus additional info will give you a great prompt. That is exactly what you want to see. And don't worry that you have to put it in the beginning, but go through it iteratively. Start with a subject, start with a style, and work your way towards exactly what you want to build. And here we have some of the keywords that you might want to use. Maybe try it out with describe your project that you're working on in the style. Think of your website. What should your website look like first of all? Do you want to have illustrations? Do you want to have photos? Should it be a photo, an illustration, a sculpture, a doodle, an icon, an architecture, a rendering or something like that? What do you want to show? Again, if you do that for the project you're working on, depends very much on the language, the design language you want to set on. Do you want to show people? Do you want to show your product? Do you want to convey emotions? That, of course, sets the subject. What is the setting? Again, what kind of emotion do you want to convey? What should be the composition? Play a little bit around with that. Try to create an asset where you say, this could be something that you need. In the composition or in general, you can also think about what should be the dominant color. Maybe you say, okay, you black and white, or your company is black and white. Maybe it's predominantly bluish, maybe it's predominantly yellowish or something like that. That's everything that you can put in there and that you can play around with. I hope you're trying this out, learning this now, because now we go into some of the commands that you give to Midjourney, and this is probably the part that is the hard science about Midjourney. Those commands, DALL-E doesn't have commands. DALL-E does imply those commands, but then we are again in this what we discussed this morning, that you can either solve problems with hard code, with very dogmatic code, or you can try to do it with a neural network. And with the dogmatic code, you're of course very much more precise, or you can get exactly what you specify. Whereas with a neural network, you have to kind of hope that it does exactly what you want. And one command it does is the was heißt ein Doppelpunkt auf Englisch? Double point. Colon, thank you. And the colon means you want to have more or less of something. For example, the prompt that we have here is a car driving on the road. Full stop, that's it. Beach, double column 2 means doubly weight the beach, so put a lot of beach in that. Trees, double column minus 0.5, meaning put half of the trees out that you would usually put in. So give it half the way. So in this case, you get exactly what you see. You get a lot of beach and little green. You could put it the other way around, and then you would probably have something like in the areas of Big Sur or something where you still have a coastline, but you have a lot of forest on the other side. And depending on what you want, of course, this can be super helpful. If you say, okay, I could see the lower line here in a coast of southern Spain, maybe, I have no idea. But this resembles it probably better than another coastline that you don't want to have. So, double colon means give something a stronger weight, give something a less strong weight. Play around with that. That works, of course, in particular in compositions where you say you have some predominant elements. You're all typing. That means I stay a little bit slow and let it try out. Let you try out that stuff. Apart from the imagine prompt, the most important command or set of commands is probably the double dash. The double dash, for all of you who have done some bash programming, so working with a terminal, will know that double dash, also in bash, sets parameters. And this is exactly what you do here as well. So double dash and then the value of the parameter. For example, double dash AR give you the aspect ratio. So you can say, okay, I want to have something in cinematic aspect ratio, 2:1, 16:9, 4:3, 8:5, which is a common aspect ratio in photography. You just make car driving on the coastal road. Here, for example, we did not specify how much beach and how much trees we want. So we got, for example, the coastline down there, which has quite a lot of trees. But we set the aspect ratio, double dash AR 8:5. So all those images are now in the aspect ratio 8:5. Which might, of course, come super handy if you want to use some of these contents for an Instagram story or something like that. When the aspect ratio should be like 9:16, so in a vertical setup, that you can just use that. For the Instagram workflow, by the way, if we have this car, you would probably take something like this image that you get and put it in another AI tool, like for example runway.ml, which helps you to animate, or is an AI that basically animates the movement. So you would have moving wave and a moving car out of the still image. It has very varying mileage what you can get. Sometimes it looks really nice, a lot of times it looks really bad. Again, there's a lot of prompt engineering, of course, you need to do. But this might help you with a lot of the content that you want to have. So let's talk about, this is AI, AR. Let's talk about some other parameters that we want to use. AR we already use. Chaos can be a very helpful comment for you if you don't know exactly what style you want. Chaos is a parameter between 0 and 100 and basically gives the freedom to vary the 4 images. You always get 4 images in the preview, as you can see here in Midjourney. If you do Bing Create, you also get 4 preview images. With Chaos, you can set from 0 to 100 how different you allow those pictures to be. So if you have no idea what you want to have, then set it to a high value and you get very different things. For example, here Chaos is 90 and you see those 4 images look very different from each other. If now you say, okay, I want exactly pictures like the upper one, then you probably want to rewrite the prompt like the upper one and say set the chaos very low, so you only do some fine adjustments to what you have. You have the stylize control, which defines how much this should look like the standard style of what Midjourney gives you. We had already discussed, we have the problem in DALL-E. All the pictures that you create with DALL-E look like DALL-E. Midjourney has the same problem, a little bit less strong. The default aesthetics to apply, if you set this to 1000, it will all exactly like Midjourney, and you can perfectly see the Midjourney influence there. If you put it to 0, I don't know exactly what the AI does in the background, but apparently it looks less aesthetically adjusted to the Midjourney default. So here we put it to 1000, so these would be perfect standardized Midjourney aesthetically images. And another thing you can do is weird. Weird is something between 0 and 3000. One thing that I don't really get with Midjourney is why they don't just say, okay, every parameter has values between 1 and 100 or something like that. So you have to read up weird. For some weird reason, it's now been between 0 and 3000. And it's basically a little bit like the temperature that we were discussing yesterday. So how much am I allowed to take unusual pictures? And if you set it to 0, it will look very much like pictures that have previously been drawn for Midjourney, which is probably a setting that you want to have if you're going for more realistic pictures. And 3000 is something you want if you want to be very experimental, something more that looks more like an abstract art, an abstract painting, and something that has not been drawn before. For example, here we have it like 1000. And you can see for 1000, it still looks very much like things you could expect from the AI. There are way more to that you can read up on. I think that the most common is AR for the aspect ratio, and just read up on the parameters that you want to use, that you need to use for the specific thing you want to have. Now, Midjourney is way more capable than just creating text, pictures from text. You can also adjust pictures and blend pictures together that you already have taken with the command blend. So again, we go here, we see a lot of things. Describe, for example, is something we already took a look at. When we put describe, they expect us to provide them with a photo. I don't want to share my private photo library with you, so I don't do those things now. But another thing would be blend, where you have 2 images or up to 5 images actually, up to 5 images that I can ask with a prompt to, I'm sorry, where am I? Here. To a new image that is just a mixture of what we already have. So for example, we can take a picture of, I have no example that is not infringing on some copyright, but one picture could be a portrait of ourselves and one other of a desired setting that we want to put ourselves in, or a manga style or a comic style or wherever we want to set ourselves in, and it can blend this together. And sometimes it gets very good results, sometimes it gets questionable results. Again, image prompting is way more trial and error because images are way more complex than text is. So 2 to 5 images, you get varying mileage on that as well. Sometimes what is cool is that if you want to have your logo on a t-shirt or your logo on a building or something like that, that is things you can do. On the other hand, does it make sense if I want to blend a can of my product in my hand? This is probably something you can do easier with Photoshop. So also think of what is the workflow, the best workflow you want to have here, but this is a blend that you can try out. Again, Midjourney costs you €8 and you can cancel it every month. So why not take it for 1 month and see what you can do here? Exactly, uploading a file also is very easy. That's something that Jan did for us. You just click here, and it opens basically your browser, which again I really don't want to because I have no good things prepared, and I'm not sure what is in my image library right now. In Delhi, you have the same thing. You probably know that from working with ChatGPT already. You can basically upload every slide. In a moment, we will go on multimodality. That's exactly what this is. So you can upload an image and tell DALL-E to please continue working with this picture, make it in this style. You can ask, what do you see on this picture? You can ask, how would you describe this picture? You can ask it, how would you prompt this picture? And it will do all those things for you. So DALL-E is a cool tool because it is so multimodal. You can ask it also, you can try to put all kind of content on there and see if it can come up with some novel ways to describe it, to bring it into different modes, into different forms of media. All right. The first, of course, is iteration. So one thing that Jan did, Jan is our co-worker, sorry for not bringing this up, is you usually want to start with a very simple command, like a car driving up a mountain. For some reason, 3 of the 4 pictures when he gives this command is in this kind of simplified poster style, which is nice, but might not be the thing that you want. And you can iterate from this. On a curvy road, this is actually what I wanted. So, and you see that it is improving that to, depending on what we want to have that. On the top right, you can also see that there is a parameter for setting the focus. So it has a strong bokeh towards the car and then fading out in the background. Maybe you want that, maybe you don't want that. So continue that to a red sports car. Here you can see already that the sports car already is red in all the pictures, and at least in 3 of the pictures, it is very close to a Ferrari. In the lower left, it might also be a Porsche, but it's still a little bit biased. It's a little bit biased. It's very much biased. And here, at some point, the more concrete you get, the more detailed you get. The downside with this method is this works fantastically on Midjourney, on oh yeah, some techniques you can leave out words and try to reduce the prompt again to get where you want to do in Midjourney. In DALL-E, however, it's not really iterating the prompt. So every prompt is something completely new and something completely chaotic. So we have a picture of a car driving up a mountain. fair enough, it's a car, it's driving up a mountain. If we say now create the same, so it's basically the same prompt, except we added red sports car, which obviously is a Ferrari apparently, and the entire scene is completely different. It's probably on a different continent, it's a completely different mountain, everything is completely different. So it's hard to prompt or to try to reiterate the prompt on DALL-E. So again, if we are a little bit more serious with what we want, then we probably go with something like Midjourney. And also, as you can see, every single aspect in those Midjourney pictures looks better. The road looks better, although there are a lot of problems with the road. The car looks better. The mountains look better, although some of the mountains have also huge problems. And here, of course, everything has huge problems. There are things that are not supposed to be here. For example, here's an artifact. The shadows are completely off. The car could never work like this. The mountains do not make sense the way they look. So bringing it back to also the aesthetic, Antoine was talking about that we are a little bit tired of those pitch decks that have DALL-E generated pictures in it. And this is very much the reason why they all look very similar and they all look so unbelievable, which seems a little bit lazy. I'm aware, and we both will tell you that you should work on product or sales and marketing and not on creating nice visuals, but please take some time and at least get a little bit ahead of this. Yeah, and you can also edit the conversation in DALL-E. So we try to basically have this create an image of a car driving up a mountain, and then edit this to the conversation. The car should be a red sports car. It's something completely different, and it's by far the worst picture that we've seen today. However, it still knows that it's a car and mountains because it has the entire context window and tries to work with that. So try to work with DALL-E, try to work with Midjourney, and try to get the same result of maybe a sports car in the mountains, maybe a super yacht in the seas, something that you're excited about, and try with both systems to get what you want. So, because that's what we said, it will always take the entire conversation into account as long as it is taking the inside the context window. This is the reason why we get from here when we said, okay, the car should be red, to this, because we can't edit the prompt and we should be explicit about the prompt. And also what we write here is not really the prompt that DALL-E has. So DALL-E comes up with its own prompt at some point in the data pipeline, and it's getting quite hard. Thus, the level of control that we have over DALL-E is very limited. Okay. What else do we have when we working with Midjourney? The same is true for Leonardo. So give Leonardo AI also a try. Cool tool, free to use, has quite a lot of functionality. Oh, I see now what did not work here. Fantastic. Let's close this. You see that whenever it creates those 4 previews for you, first of all, it goes quite quickly, and then you have a lot of buttons here. First of all, you have the button to remix that. So it creates, if you say, all those 4 I really don't like, you can click this, and it will create a new one. Since it's a chat, it will do this down here. You also see it automatically set a parameter here, which is defining the model. So it's using its version number 6 of its model. Other things you can do is U and V. With U, you upscale a picture. So this, at the moment, is a rather low quality. If you say, I like picture 1, I want to have it in higher resolution, you can click that, and it will do it for you. And if you say, I kind of like the version 3, but I would like to see more like it, Then you click on V3, which will create 4 variants for the third version for you. Let's see all of that. First of all, what did we do? Here we have 4 entirely new pictures in the style, and now I could choose out of 8 pictures if there's something that I want or do not want. Here we have the upscaled version of the first picture, which is now in substantially higher resolution and probably something that I can work with in other tools. And here it's still working on, and you can also see what it basically does. You can see the denoising basically of the third picture. So to remember, the third picture was this, and it tries for the third picture, and you can see the resemblance of the third picture to create 4 new ones. However, maybe I'm not happy with that because my prompt initially was not good enough. So I now need to go with the variations. This is what we have here. Upscale, vary, those are the U's and the I's. And exactly when I'm in the upscaled version, I have even more opportunities to adjust that. Let's go into that quickly. That's not it. That's the upscaled version. So I can vary subtly, I can vary strongly, I can vary regions, I can zoom in and zoom out. What does it do? When I upscale it subtly, it basically tries to super sample what your TV claims to do when it has full HD content and it super samples that to 4K. It basically tries to guess what might be the pixels in between. That is what upscale subtly is. Upscale creatively is it would be a little bit wilder on the upscaling and bring in a little bit more detail that might not be in here. It might also be very widely or strongly. That is a little bit different on what we did here. So it tries to stay true to what it has and create a variation. But I can also say just vary a region. So it opens an interface for me and I say something that I don't like. For example, what might I not like? Doesn't really matter. I don't like that there are so many books in here. So adjust something here. I can ask it for that. It's all in the queue now. Down here we look at the results in a second. And here I can change the settings. So I can say, okay, let's take it a little bit to the right. So I want to see what happens to right of this person. So I would click right. And it generates, because it also doesn't know what happens to the right of this person, but it generates now new content that would happen to the right. And also when I zoom out, I basically say, I want to have this to be the centerpiece, but I don't want to see more of the scene. And now it does the same thing for me. It just guesses what could be out of the scene now and tries to do this for me. So what you can see here, it tries to set the right-hand side of this, and what it guesses in all 4 ways. Oh, where is it? It guesses that there are more students sitting there. This was where we asked it to vary the point where we had the picture, where we had the books. Here are the books. And it added, in 3 cases, it added another student. In the 4th case, it did, I don't even know what it did now. And here it was upscaling with quite some variation. So you can get some mileage. It again starts with, builds these 4 things for you. So once you are at a point where you say, okay, this is a picture that I want, you can still manipulate it quite intensively and still use the AI to get to where you want to go. So hopefully you understood the buttons that you have here. In Leonardo, you have rather similar buttons. In DALL-E, you again don't have, and you can't even prompt that you say, take this image and show me what is around there. There's a question?
Earlier you said that usually if you prompt the journey of the images you generate are public. How are they public? Who is able to?
They are published. They are just published openly, and you can browse them. So the pictures that I generated here, everybody can browse them. And if they take a long time enough to do so, then they will find exactly those pictures.
So everyone has access to this chat, is that correct?
Not to this chat. This chat is my chat. But they are published on the Midjourney website. Another question?
So if I use my face and say change it, then people could use this picture.
Yes, you of course still have copyrights on your picture, but if somebody uses it, then they probably don't care. More question?
For this Midjourney, there is no limitation in the usage because, according to the question, in the ChatGPT for DALL-E, I was doing it, then it gave me an image.
Yeah, so as in most of the tools, there are uses limitations. In ChatGPT, I think there's 20 images in some amount of time that you can generate. In Midjourney, of course, you also have this limitation. I think with the cheapest tier, you get at the moment 150 images per month that you can generate. So I'm wasting my quota now as well. And that's probably true for every tool you're using.
How would you save the images if I want to move them out?
Just as you would save every image. So we are here, take this and just download the image. Same for DALL-E, when you even have a download button here, click it and you have it. Also, one problem that DALL-E had here, it was completely ignoring that I wanted to have an aspect ratio. Of course, it doesn't know that AR means aspect ratio in that format, but it's kind of odd that it came up with this aspect ratio by itself. Okay, we went through this. Vary region is probably one of the things that you want to use quite a lot. If you say, okay, you're happy with most of that, but the sports car is not the sports car that you want to have, then you would vary it. You can add here your command, so you can reprompt it. So if you say you want to vary it, how do you want to vary it? I just left it open for now. But here, what this example has, we want to remove the sports car and put a black truck in it instead of that. And let's see what it does. Let's see what it does. I thought I had an example what it does. Apparently I don't, but then let's put it in our thing here. And vary the region. And say we want a cat in there. And say, okay, now it hopefully should add a cat. Or it was a little bit too subtly scripted. Because the rest of what I did not put in the varying region, it should stay same. And it was, no, it's still working. Please put a cat in there. So as you can see, everything else remains same, and in the first they put a cat. Yes, wonderful. So probably I needed to be a little bit more explicit on what I want, but I can readjust my prompting, so I can, in specific regions, the entire rest of the picture stays the same, no matter what I write in the prompt. I might want to keep some parts of the prompt, otherwise it is completely unrelated to what it creates here. But if I say, in particular here, I want a cat, if you prompt well enough and long enough, it will create a cat for you. All right, and then of course, documentation is king. You want to look up the documentation and see all the parameters that you can have. Again, this is working for Leonardo, this is working for Stability, this is working for Midjourney, this is not working for DALL-E. DALL-E is just the just do it tool that gives you very quick output. But if you, again, if you want to build a website, if you want to build an investor pitch deck, then you probably want to get a little bit more serious and spend this money for a paid tool that gives you what you want to have.